Last year, he made a lot of preseason All-American and All-Conference type lists. Kyle,
Sure.
how could he be better?
Well, I think, when we start talking is really growing Kyle's knowledge of the game. Obviously, with the success that he had last year, he's very physically talented. He does a great job of operating. He does a great job of getting, the ball in the sweet spot and being able to carry the ball down the field, but really kind of growing his knowledge of protections and when his operation needs to speed up just in terms of rush looks and when he can hold it to help our gunners get down the field. So really kind of growing his football knowledge, his positional knowledge, situational knowledge. I think that's where you kind of see the next step for Kyle Ostendorp just in terms of an evolution in the next part.
Speaking of protection, is going from 2 to 3 on the wall, is that simply just a 3 is better than 2?
Well, I think at the end of the day, it's a little bit more, kind of the personal preference of the coordinator. We're going to do a variety of different things. We're going to be in some times where we have some 2, and, we're going to be in some times where we have a 3-man shield. But ultimately, I think at the end of the day, it's a little bit of a personal preference. It's what I've done for a while, and it's what I feel comfortable with.
For Kyle and Tyler to make those preseason watch lists, from your perspective, what kind of work have they done the last year to earn that?
I think at the end of the day is production. Anytime that you can have a net sort of punting average like Dorp did, it breeds some confidence in me. And then, obviously Luke finishing the season 12 of 12. Now, kind of like I said a little bit earlier is, okay, how do we get and refine the details? How do we speed up some operation times? How do we make sure that we're growing trust with Seth McKellar, who's done a fantastic job of placing a lot of the snaps and just being able to grow the camaraderie in the room, I think is ultimately how they keep taking that next step.
We saw Luke kind of as a short kicker. You guys have average seconds a long kicker. Where has he developed in terms of overall kicking?
Well, I think Luke, when you look at him, he's still got a fantastic leg. Obviously, Lucas is extremely talented just in terms of leg strength. But I think, just because Luke kind of had the shorter kicks doesn't mean that he necessarily lacks that much leg strength in comparison to Lucas. Where I see Luke taking the biggest growth is just his mental approach to the game and kind of his mental fortitude. He's able to respond when he doesn't have a great kick a lot better than he did last year. And, that's a testament to Dr. Webb and a lot of our sports psych team of being able to work with him. And it's a testament to Luke of knowing exactly where to work and how he can grow his game, aside from just taking physical reps, which I think has been very cool.
Who are we looking at as returners at this point?
Well, I think when you look at it, such a talented receiver room, you have a cool amount of options. But guys that have really taken the next step just in terms of, Jackson Turner, who's got really, really nice hands to be able to be back there as a punt returner. But I'm looking forward to seeing what Cowing, what Singer, and making sure that we really do a good job of developing Speedy Luke. Because when you look at his talent set and his skill set, you want to make sure that you're putting him in a position to succeed, but you also want to make sure that he has a lot of confidence. And that's always kind of the battle when you go into game one, is making sure that you shorten that learning curve for true freshmen, because you get a first game jitters, you get a little bit of anxiety. So I want to make sure that he continues to build his confidence in that talent set on the back end.
Who are some of the guys who have stood out in coverage and blocking units, some under the radar guys who maybe we don't talk about?
Oh man, do I have 30 minutes to be able to list all of them? A guy like Naz Mbata, who blocked a handful of kicks last year, has done a fantastic job in terms of running down the field. Dalton Johnson, Isaiah Taylor. You start looking at a guy like Simpson, who's done a fantastic job of just every single special teams. Solomon Solo has done a fantastic job. Ammon Allen. You really see a lot of guys really working hard to be a part of it. They want to be a part of it. It's a serious deal every single day when we get into our pack meetings. And I love the energy that those guys have brought to the field every single day.
So last year, Stanley had the gunner role. He's embraced that.
Well, I think you see a lot of different guys. You see a guy like DJ Warnell, who's run down the field and does a fantastic job. Naturally, he's a safety, so he does a great job of avoiding blockers and getting to the point that we need him. Anthony Simpson, again, is going to be a fantastic gunner for us. And then we've got guys that have played before. As Stukes continues to grow as a player, he's still going to have a major role as a gunner. And then you see Jaden Young as well. So you have a lot of different guys that can be able to kind of fill that role. Obviously, you can't ever replace a Stanley Berryhill, because of his talent set. But a lot of guys have that tape and they see what it looks like. And the cool thing is you start to see, a lot of the plays that he's making in Falcons camp on special teams, and it translates. That makes a mark, that makes them want to go that much harder.
When it comes to rebuilding the roster, that project that you you guys have undertaken. What is Jed's message been on how to?
Well, I think the biggest thing right now is just, again, finding guys that love football, truly love grinding and what the game brings. Not necessarily the recruiting aspect, but they are simply inherently motivated. They want to do a good job. They want to be good teammates. And, that's when you start to see a lot of the excitement in terms of just being around the team. That, to me, is the biggest thing in recruiting, is ultimately making sure that we focus on the important things, and then making sure that at the end of the day, those guys love ball. And that's where I think we've really kind of started to shift, just in terms of, how those guys are buying in and how hard they play every single day.